All right, so we're back here on another Couch Coach Live. Couch Coaches, we are back. We're here for another Tuesday edition of Couch Coach Live. I know we hit you with a little audible last week when we did a Thursday show, but we back here on our regularly scheduled time. We got special guests in the building. We got our guy Jalen, Unpopular Podcast.
How you doing? I appreciate the invitation, man. It's an honor for real, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And of course, my guy Maui. What's going on, Maui?
Well, and chill another week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are we gonna discuss what we supposed to discuss? Right. You know what I'm saying? Since y'all dodging stuff, you know what y'all playing rope and dope?
Well, I mean, you guys do. So I mean, they kind of nailed it.
Oh, they kind of nailed it. I
mean,
remember the last playoffs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I'm talking about as far as your Lakers.
Oh, don't throw it back over here, man.
Yeah.
Don't throw it back over here, okay?
I think that I look at LA, the two LAs maybe on a potential collision course, and the winner of that collision course might get some wings in return. Could get some Fourth of July after 4th of July dinner on one of our on one of our tabs.
I know our guest is ready for the show to go. Man, you are talking about the Clippers.
I know, and you're talking about the Lakers who their superstar isn't 100% healthy, and he's going against what he said, MVP of our league.
Wizards in 4. I'm
against
going
who?
away. Wizards in 4.
Against who? Who?
Wizards against the Lakers in the finals. Wizards in 4. I got it. I'm here.
Okay, you're
I would love that.
Man,
you're unpopular. You're living up to the march of unpopular. That's definitely an unpopular opinion.
Hey, it is what it is, man. I'm riding with my boys.
It's unpopular / hot take.
I love that one.
Yeah,
I'll get wings, and I would love to go see one of them yet.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I'll go to home game. I'll go to everyone. If they $1,000,
really? No, I know, right?
But I'm gonna go until the wheels fall off, man.
I mean, potentially got Brooklyn if you win tonight, or Philly if you know.
I'd rather see Brooklyn. I'd rather see Brooklyn right now. I'm not gonna
lie. I don't know, but y'all got to win tonight because you got to think about it. If you win tonight, you got this Pacers team that's blowing the brakes out of Indiana at this point.
Jesus, I don't know what's going on with
Charlotte. I don't know. I think, like they said, they're young guys, and it's just. I just think it's just inexperience.
I guess.
But at least if y'all do have to play them, potentially they'd be up without Karis LeVert. So I mean,
yeah.
You're going to playoffs at this point. I mean, I'm just being real.
Yeah.
Some form of fashion.
You know, Wizards can pull the Wizards, man. They do good until they have to. And all of a sudden, Russell Westbrook goes 0 for 19. Bradley Beal, for some reason, starts missing layups. Yeah, I'm not wishing it upon us, but you know, the Wizards will find a way if they have to find a way.
Yeah, and that's the thing where, hey, who's to say? I mean, it's to a point now where, but I think for sure y'all guys are being, y'all, you either be in Philly or you'll be in Brooklyn on probably Saturday.
We just need a shot. All we need is a shot.
Hey, I think you're about to get the gift that keeps on giving. The thing about this is I don't necessarily think that they're going to be as far as Indiana's going to pose a threat to you guys if you guys do play potentially, but
we'll never know.
But so tonight we are giving out our NBA awards. So we'll be talking about that and then also doing some superlatives throughout the show as well. So without further ado, let me kick that intro and get the show started. All right, so we are back here. So let's do our NBA awards. We'll start it off. First things first. Who is the your MVP, or as LeBron say, the MVP of our league? I'm gonna go with you first, Jalen. Who's your MVP?
Well, I've been saying this for a while now. We need to really determine. The NBA has to do a better job in determining and sticking to what an MVP is, because some years is narrative based, some years is the best player. We need to determine what it is. If we're talking about value, like most valuable player, I would say Steph. But my MVP this year, I'm going to go with Jokic. That's kind of he seems like the clear cut MVP at this point. He's the only player in the running that's played all the games. Especially when Jamal Murray went down and he was able to kind of steer the ship. Even though he is the leader of the team, Jamal Murray is a big cog, and you lose Jamal Murray But he was able to do that. I think, and I've said this before, I don't know if it's an unpopular take or not, but I've said he's one of the most skilled big men the league has ever seen. And when we talk about his passing ability, the way that he's able to score in his manners, and I just think that he's been more consistent as terms of when they talk about NBA rankings and stuff, he's been pretty much 1 or 2 the entire season. So while I think that if we're just talking about valuable, Steph Curry could be up there, Chris Paul could be up there, Jimmy Butler can be up there, but I think that is going to go to Nikola Jokic, and rightfully so. He's been pretty much up there the entire season.
Yeah, big time. Who you got, Maui?
I mean, I got Joker too, man. I definitely the excitement part of it, and we didn't think that the Warriors would be where they're at, especially with the team that they got. And Steph, he did what you're supposed to do when you're a superstar. You just do what you do. But I when I really looked at it, I mean, he's a point guard. I don't mean no offense, but I mean, look at his assists. You know what I mean? Even though he's scoring all the points, but and then when I looked at it, you got to look at the big man, like Joker is averaging almost 8 assists a game. Like, he all around. If I had to say most valuable player, I definitely would say is at least Embiid or the Joker. It's just even Giannis. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you really look at all the numbers, and I Steph is going to get what Steph did here in the playoffs. Well, he in the playing game, and most likely going to be in the playoffs, and he most likely going to get a scoring title.
I don't mean to cut you off, Coach. The only thing I would say about that is, while yes, you can look at the assist and he's a point guard, I would say, as an argument, look at who he has to assist to. Like, when you have Jordan Poole, Damian Lee, when you have young guys like that, Kevon Looney playing major minutes, compared to Joker, when you have Michael Porter Jr., you have Will Barton, you have some pretty good pieces. I do agree with the fact that he, as far as Nikola Jokic does get his player, the players around him involved a lot more. But I also would look at the offense that Golden State runs, especially with Klay out and Steph Curry pretty much being their main source of scoring. I would feel, to me, it would look weird, and I think the team would not be as successful if Curry's assists were up and his scoring was down. So, but I agree.
And I'm with you on that, and I'm happy you said that. But when you look at it, the other 2 candidates most likely going to win. It's like they're most likely going to win the championship this year. You know what I'm saying? They have a better rating, and I think that if he was, and they may figure it out down if they get deeper in the playoffs, that I got to get these other guys in, because you know what I'm saying, you do it all yourself. But he did what he was supposed to do, was make them overachieve by doing his game. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? But when I was just breaking it down and looking at it, I was like, okay, think about it, man, how more scary they would be if his assist was up a little bit more. You know what I mean?
I understand.
But
yeah. Mine's got to go to Steph. Even though I know Jokic's gonna win, obviously. Yeah. By virtue of it. But my biggest thing, especially when we were previewing the Western Conference, we figured that Steph was going to somewhat low-key struggle because he didn't have Klay as his crutch, where he was going to get used and abused, essentially, as far as he's not going to be able to get good looks per se, as far as, he would, with that is concerned, but he averaged 32 a game. He led his Golden State team to 8th seed in the Western Conference, which I didn't think. I kind of figured they were going to be in this kind of way, but a lot of people had them. That was the team that kind of everybody looked at. No one was really defending. People had them. I remember somebody even had them second in the West. I've had people even having them being like 10th or 11th, not even making the play-in at that point. So, so I look at that situation with him, what he would go to say he's pretty much single-handedly leading this team. And, that's the biggest thing with that.
I didn't mean to cut you off. And what I would say to that as well is look at the players around him. And the main that I would focus on is Andrew Wiggins. We've been talking about Andrew Wiggins doesn't have, like, what's wrong with Andrew Wiggins? You're a number 1 overall pick and you just don't have the motor. I don't think it's a coincidence that the first year he plays alongside Steph, he has career year. He's having his best year he's ever had. So, again, I agree with the fact that Steph is definitely up there, and we know he's not going to win, but I would definitely give it to Jokic or Embiid or something. But I agree with the fact that Steph Curry, while you can look at the scoring, and that's definitely most important when we talk about his game, you really want to talk about value. Look at the players around him. Look at the fact that Jordan Poole is now an option. Damian Lee is an important player. Andrew Wiggins is having the best season of his career. So, I agree with everything you guys said, man.
Yeah, big time. So moving on along to our awards. Rookie of the Year. Who you got, Jalen? I'm going to go with you first.
Well, here's the thing, man. It's okay. So, and I said this on my podcast, and I'm dropping on Saturday. The reason I'm going to say I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards, and this is why I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards. I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards because when him and LaMelo Ball were playing, of course, I would say LaMelo Ball had the lead. But I don't think that he had such a sizable lead that he could miss as much time as he missed and Anthony Edwards play as good as he had, and his lead will stay the same. So with LaMelo Ball being out and Anthony Edwards playing as good as he was now, of course, Minnesota still ain't win no games, but playing as good as he was, I believe that he closed the gap. And when LaMelo Ball came back, a lot of people, of course, the media want to look at LaMelo Ball. He's exciting. All the lobs that he did with Bridges and everything is good. But that means the attention went away from Anthony Edwards, even though Anthony Edwards has been hooping still. Anthony Edwards just had like a 30-point game like the other day.
Yeah.
So while, yes, LaMelo Ball has been incredible and he has been pretty much the life force for Charlotte, because that time missed, and while he missed that time, Anthony Edwards was still good and he was still producing at a high level. I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards for my Rookie of the Year.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And everything that you said, I'm with you. I just wrote down the numbers, right?
Yeah.
But marketing standpoint, like I always say, they're going to want it to be LaMelo.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to do it. We got to make a decision. But I'm going to pick Anthony also because I feel like he's not LaMelo went basically to the Hornets to be the star player of the team. Exactly. Basically, he was. You know what I'm saying? And Edwards, he's not the star player of that team, and he still is balling. You know what I mean? He's still balling. So I'm a second with you. I'm gonna give that to him because that's really when we are watching basketball. That's the type of stuff we're supposed to say. Hey, it really should be him, but we understand this is entertainment, and y'all want to give it to that one right there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna give it to Anthony also. 18 points a game. 4 rebounds. Average 3 rebounds. Come on, man.
Not to mention the fact that even alongside Karl Anthony Towns, if you look at late game situations, they run plays through Anthony Edwards.
For him, Anthony, yeah.
And again, this is nothing against LaMelo Ball. He's been great too, but like I said, I just don't think he closed that gap. I think that Anthony Edwards closed that gap once LaMelo Ball was out. And while LaMelo Ball has come back and he's played well, Anthony Edwards has remained and still been playing good. So we're here with it. We're here with it.
Right. Quick question: do you think that if Minnesota would have started winning like more games, on a decent win streak, they would have recognized basically what you're saying?
I honestly don't. I honestly think that once the narrative has been placed, I mean, we all know. I would be naive to say that LaMelo Ball is not a more exciting player than Anthony Edwards. Of course, Anthony Edwards has the dunks, and he we know what he did to, a couple players dunk wise. But I would be naive in saying that if they both played for the same team in the same state that I'm living in, and I had a chance to get Anthony Edwards to go see LaMelo Ball, I'm picking LaMelo Ball 9 times out of 10. But and of course, again, this LaMelo Ball has been playing well, but I just think that the market that you're in, and of course, once it's kind of like the Zion effect. We looked at Zion all year, even though he missed a whole bunch of time, and it's like, okay, but what's everyone else doing? And then once Zion came, they were just like, this is the greatest player ever since Braun. I was like, hold on now, like, whoa, he's good. So I don't think that even if they were number 1 in the East or West, I still don't think that.
Really,
I still don't think that. I'm okay. Let me chill out. Maybe number 1. But if they were winning, I'll say this. If LaMelo Ball, which he is in the play-in, and Anthony Edwards in the play-in, I still think they'd give it to LaMelo Ball, honestly.
Yeah. Matt's got to be Anthony Edwards as well. I think just the simple fact of him averaging damn near 20 points a game.
Yeah.
And the thing about the whole Melo thing, it kind of cancels out. Look what's going on now. They're getting beat by 30. So it's almost like I would have just been Cancun on three days ago instead of going on now. I mean, but yeah, what Anthony Edwards did, and then it's just a simple fact of just that Minnesota team. There's
a lot wrong with it, man.
It's a lot wrong, and I just don't know how to fix or ratify the situation. Honestly, it's just.
I had an episode probably a couple weeks ago where I put on my GM hat and I fixed the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it was, man, that was a long episode because there's a lot that I have. It starts from the ground up, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. But Anthony Edwards has been straight this whole year. It's just the team's garbage. So
yeah, and I would give Melo honorable mention, and then also Tyrese Halliburton. I would give him honorable mention.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just the rookie class is pretty much one side, and then also Anthony Edwards is a certified personality.
Yeah.
What? The sad thing too is a lot of rookies that most likely didn't really get a chance. They don't get the minutes, and they probably better than the ones that we're talking about, but they just didn't get the minutes, or they coach really don't like playing young players. It's stuff like that be really, excuse my language, but really pissing me off because I'm like, are you trying to win or what? You know what I mean?
Not to mention injuries definitely affect all these. Because I was one of the people when he was playing. I could have made an argument that James Wiseman could have been a rookie. Playing State. So injuries and playing time and opportunity definitely affects this at least.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's funny. I almost forgot about James Wiseman because of just the injury. And everything, like he was on pace. Just imagine if he would have been with this team, making his playoff run, and he was getting better week in and week out. Like he was getting, like I've seen a lot of improvement in him up until that point. But yeah, so it's unanimous as far as Anthony Edwards is concerned.
Yeah,
6 man. I'm gonna go with you first. Yeah, I'm gonna go with you first, Jalen.
My fault. I'm gonna throw in someone that I don't think a lot of people would think. I'm gonna go with Derrick Rose. I think Derrick Rose has been a very important piece for the Knicks. Now, of course, we know that the most important player for the Knicks right now is Julius Randle, but you can see a correlation to, especially the bench scoring, getting a lot better once Derrick Rose came into the team. And of course, you have the young guard, Emmanuel Quickly. You have some of the young pieces, but you look at the bench scoring, and of course it went up. Then I look at how has the players that kind of play the same position as Derrick Rose played since he's been there? And we've seen an uptick in confidence in scoring in RJ Barrett. We've seen the team just, especially the people other than Julius Randle. We've seen them a lot better. So I would say my sixth man will go to Derrick Rose for me.
Yeah. Who you got, Maui? Who's your sixth man?
I mean, I put Clarkson, man, but I got actually D Rose after him. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. Like I was thinking about the sixth man. Like, is the sixth man really a bench player? Because D Rose plays a lot of minutes, man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he's damn near like a starter. You know what I mean? And then when I look at Clarkson, I maybe I'm wrong for that. I really look at him more as, I think now he's a sixth man, but I think he more of just a bench player. They just really threw out there, but now he's knocking down shots. Yeah. And then Donovan Mitchell being hurt, now he's becoming that big thing. Like for instance, 2016 Cavs, was Mo Williams really the sixth man? You know what I mean? Was you really looking like he gonna be a threat? He gonna get 15? You know what I mean? Like, but I'm gonna give it to Clarkson, man. He's been really balling. He kind of he stepped up since Mitchell been down. Been knocking down shots. But hey, I ain't mad at D Rose.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that. Who else did I put? I did put Dragic, but I think they put him back in the starting. They put him back in the starting five, right?
Yeah.
Because I know he was coming off the bench. I thought that was kind of smart because he's really a starter, and that'll help they bench. You know what I mean? But and also put Tim Hardaway Jr. But he struggled a little bit towards the end. But I'm not mad at D Rose, man.
Yeah, man, it's got to go to Jordan Clarkson. He's another one. I mean, it's weird to think like a guy who's essentially playing on the number one team in the Western Conference.
Right.
He's averaging 18 points per game coming off the bench for that team. And he's kind of really helped spearhead that team big time. So I definitely look at Jordan Clarkson. And then also I can make a semi argument to Joe Ingles.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is it's not as close as how it was like last year, like with Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell. Remember how they were kind of jumping between the two, and as far as teammates wise, as far as being six man. So Matt's definitely got to go to Jordan Clarkson, but definitely honorable mention, like you said, to D Rose as well, and then also Joe Ingles.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, big time.
Right.
Yeah. Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got, Maui?
I put Rudy Gobert, but one more. I'm gonna give it to Ben Simmons, man. You know what I'm saying? Because Ben Simmons, like he said, Rudy played him. He got 42 on him. Like, you know what I mean? And Ben sticks a lot of different positions. He put, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna go into depth, but you know what I'm saying? Because I got a lot more stuff for Rudy. But once I started looking up some stuff, I was like, you know what? It can easily be Ben Simmons. You know what I mean? So I'm going to pick Ben.
Who you got, Jalen?
All right. So this entire year, I've been with you, Maui. I've been Ben Simmons to the death. Yeah. I've been like, Ben Simmons has to guard. He can guard anything from the 1 to the 5.
1 to 5, right.
Ben Simmons, his length and his quickness allows him to be a unique defender. More like a hybrid Draymond Green as far as defense, in my opinion. Until I saw the stat yesterday, I didn't realize that with Rudy Gobert on the floor, teams are shooting 28%. I was like, good God. Not to mention the fact that I think he's second or third in blocks.
Second in blocks, yeah.
Second in blocks. And of course, he's averaging 14 and 14. And a lot of the reasons why, especially with Donovan Mitchell going out, their offense didn't increase. Their defense increased. And that's the reason why they were able to stay afloat. And even though of course, Rudy Gobert is not the most pleasurable player to invest in, but the fact that 28%, as a team, and I think that 28% goes down to like 14 or 15% at the rim. I'm gonna go with Rudy Gobert as the defensive player of the year for me.
Yeah. Mine's Ben Simmons. We did, I think, mid-season once. I still have him as my defensive player of the year. So yeah, it's Ben Simmons. Like you said, he's the guy that's able to lock up your perimeter defender, and he's been doing a pretty good job with that for the most part.
Let me. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Why do you think that people don't get tired of voting one person for the defensive player of the year more than they get tired of voting one person for like MVP or something like that?
It's weird because that's another thing too, where this position in a weird way, like you said, it don't get that fatigue thing.
Yeah.
You know how like normally, because I remember at one time they were like 6-man fatigue when we remember like Luke Will used to win like 3-4 years, and Jamal Crawford, and like you look at there's like multiple. You think about this award in a weird way. There's been like consecutive ones. You look at like Ben Wallace. You look at like Dwight Howard,
Draymond Green,
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah,
and these guys are like multiple. And that's because I think at the end of the day, defense isn't, like you said, defense isn't sexy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a situation where people just look at that and say, well, whoever, like, because I looked at Kawhi for many years, like, well, he's the best perimeter defender.
Exactly.
Sign him up. And Dwight Howard leads the league in blocks.
Yeah.
Sign him up.
And it's like,
you
look up, and if he wins, of course, Rudy Gobert will be his third. This will be his third defensive player of the year in 4 years.
Yep.
And we're over here fighting. The fight is, okay, well, if LeBron James is the best player, why is it that he only has 4 MVPs? But Rudy Gobert is about to have this third, and nobody's like, yeah, well, it's Rudy. I just think it's funny how we have fatigue for some awards, but not fatigue for others. So it's crazy. Right?
I know, because I just think defense isn't sexy. It ain't like something that many people care as far as from a novice. And I honestly, probably even people who vote probably just be like,
they probably don't watch the games. You're like, oh, who? Rudy who? How many rebounds? How many blocks? Okay.
Almost just like the NFL. Remember how like the NFL, a lot of guys who make the Pro Bowl, and it's just like, how in the hell they make the Pro Bowl over this person?
Right.
Yeah, you remember the year Mark Gasol won the defensive player of the year, yet didn't make a defensive all team. So it's like that really showed. You're telling me Mark Gasol was better than LeBron James, or how is it that? I mean, he's of course great, but how is it that J.J. Watt is always in the defensive player of the year discussion?
Right.
But the Texans give up the most touchdowns in the league. It's always crazy.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, because Marc Gasol, I ain't gonna front. Marc Gasol was like the defensive MVP of the bubble.
Yeah.
Put some respect on little Marc Gasol name.
I respect it.
I'm stupid, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I know it's just a weird. That award is always like kind of the one where it's like, all right, like you said, it's the one I think people kind of just be like, check, they kind of ignore it. Yeah.
I think it's just they don't know how to, it's not sexy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Defense is just not sexy, but we know how you don't win championships without it. You don't move forward without defense. You know what I mean?
Not to mention, this is probably the only award where the player, a lot of their a lot of their impact on the game isn't on the stat sheet. So you
right.
watch their games to see, okay, who's the defender of the year. So
yeah,
right.
It is bizarre, but coach of the year, who you got, Maui? Your coach of the year.
Man, I'm giving it to Monty Williams, man. The Suns was 34 and 39 last year, and they are 51-21. They win that bubble, and they have not stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
I agree wholeheartedly, man. If there was a number 2, I would probably have to go with Doc Rivers. Seeing as though what he did, I was one of the people, and I put it on my podcast. It's going to drop tomorrow. I was one of the people that said, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid cannot play together. Like it's not going to work. And Doc Rivers comes on and they're number 1 in the East. But I agree with you. It has to go to Monty Williams. Hell, Phoenix was so bad last year, even with Devin Booker and stuff, that they go 8-0 in the bubble and still don't make the play-in. So yeah, I think Monty Williams, and especially when you talk about his story and what happened in New Orleans with his wife and stuff.
Yeah,
he's definitely had a long road, and you know. It's not just like a lifetime achievement award, but what he's done with Phoenix has been incredible in my opinion. So I definitely agree.
Right.
With Monty Williams.
And quiet as kept that that year of that tragedy, that was kind of going to be one of those years that he was going to make a coach. He was going to be a coach in the NBA.
Yeah. So
that's one of the things where you look at just how how things happen, and so definitely huge shout out to Monty. But mine's. It's got to go to Tibbs. I'm going to tell you one thing. And so when he got hired with the Knicks, I was not a fan of that. I didn't think this team, that roster that was constructed at that point was going to be able to handle Tibbs' coaching. I figured this was going to be like kind of the year where they just play it and then they get ready for this free agent class of 2021. They was going to reload, especially when you look at bringing in Leon Rose and Worldwide West. I kept on thinking to myself, well, I don't think nobody on this team is going. I mean, I knew it was going to be some pieces that would be here and there, but for them to be fourth in the Eastern Conference, we're going to have a home playoff game in Madison Square Garden on Sunday.
That's crazy.
How?
That's
crazy. And it's because of Tibbs, and that's the beauty thing about all this. And I definitely think he's what he's doing. And how he's doing it with these players. And that's another indication, indicative of his coaching style. It didn't work out in Minnesota. It worked out in Chicago. And it's now working out in New York. And he got the guys, playing hard. And he's gotten to a point where well, hey, yeah, I know. Tired. And that's the thing. Yeah, they're tired. But in the same token, they young guys. They young. They hungry. They gym rats. So they'll be able to handle that. I think it's funny. This is a perfect team for him. I kept on saying, well, this ain't the right coach for these players, which proved me wrong. So definitely got to have a little egg on my face, and definitely huge shout out to Tibbs, man. And he'll definitely, I think in my personal opinion, he should be the coach of the year.
I ain't mad at that.
Man, I ain't mad at that either, man. Yeah. Seems like it's that type of season, man. It's just like, it's a lot of success, a lot of different, lot of different things, man. Like a lot of changes, bro. You know what I mean? Who'd have thought, man? Who'd have thought Boston would be where they're at? Man?
Right. The New York Knicks is hosting a playoff game Sunday afternoon in the Garden,
and Boston is fighting for their lives tonight in a play-in game.
Wow,
that's crazy.
I mean. We're sitting here days away from having a home playoff game in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it? But hey, we're here for it. That's why you don't play games on paper. You play games on the court.
There you
go. So let's do a little superlatives and kind of get those out the way, fellas. So let's talk about. So which non-playoff team are you looking forward to seeing next season? I'm gonna go with you first, Mallory. Who you got?
Man, I got a couple. I'm sorry. I'm really interested to see about the Rockets after all the drama, and what the necessary moves they're gonna make. Because I know they're rebuilding. Everybody left at the same time, and then people said, I got you. Well, go ahead and get rid of me too. I can't deal with this. I want to see what the Thunder, since they got all those picks. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what they're gonna do. I'm interested to see what the Timberwolves are going to do. I know, with Edwards and Carl Anthony after dealing with his mom passing, and then them buying the team being sold and all that. I just want to, then definitely the Raptors. I like Nick Nurse, so I just want to see what they're going to do to get back to where they're at, where they're at, because they're another shock. I didn't think that they were going to be where they're at right now, and last but not least, your Bulls. You got the coach, and I really thought they were going to be better than what they are. You know what I mean? But it's only one season, so I'm really interested to see if they're going to sign some people they supposed to sign and what they're going to do.
Yeah, and no draft pick, so not looking forward to the draft lottery. So I mean, hey, I guess what Perk said, Vukovic, Vukovic, that'd be that's our first round pick essentially.
You know,
And yeah, like you said, Houston, Kevin Porter Jr. But the second biggest regret from Cleveland, let LeBron James walk and then changing Kevin Porter Jr.'s locker and having an outburst. That boy balling. That might have been the best thing to happen to him. Like,
right.
So
yeah, but he ain't have a Swenson's burger. He's like, damn, I can't get right. But
shout out to Kevin Porter
yeah,
Jr.
man, like it's just I couldn't put. It was hard for me to put one team. Like it's just interesting to me, man. You know, it's just hard, bro. So yeah, man. See what they're gonna do.
What you got, Jalen?
Well, I kind of had a lot of teams too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't want to cheat. I'm gonna say one. And I'm going to say the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going to say the Cleveland Cavaliers because this is the second year in a row that we've heard teammates have a problem with Colin Sexton. I want to know what they're going to do with that. You know, you got Sextown, which I hate.
Oh, Sexland.
Yeah, Sexland with Arlen and him. I hate that. But it's like we know the play style that Colin Sexton has. It's a crazy play style, and it's like, what are they going to do with that? Of course, I mean, hell, I'll cheat. It is what it is. Of course, the Bulls as well, seeing as that they don't have any draft picks. I do want to know what they're going to do with Zach LaVine because it seems like he's been on the trade clock for like 2 or 3 years now. And the same thing with Minnesota, as what they're going to do with Karl Anthony Towns. I understand that he's, of course, wrapped in the tragedy with his mom. It's not going to look good in the organization to trade him.
Right.
However, we've heard stories that they've been looking for a minute, seeing as though because they don't know if he. And I said this on an episode a couple weeks ago. Is Karl Anthony Towns really a centerpiece? Yeah, he's an incredible player, but they built that team around him, and as we've seen, the success that they've had, even with a Derrick Rose, even with a Rubio, even with an Andrew Wiggins. So I'll say Minnesota, Chicago, and Cleveland, because what are they going to do with some of their star pieces? And also with Chicago, what they're going to do with Laurie Marketing. So those are my teams.
Yeah, and I have like a multitude of teams, but like you said, I'm gonna keep it with one. Mm-hmm. The Sacramento Kings. I'm thinking your boy about to get fired, man. Lil Luke about to be. I think Lil Luke might be gone.
He might be
potentially. So I'm curious if they're gonna have a new head coach, and just now De'Aaron Fox pretty much is a borderline all-star. Sucks for him to be in the Western Conference, definitely as far as loaded with all those guards. And then also,
what are they going to do with Marvin Bagley, man?
Right, and that's another thing too, where it's him, and then you got establishment with Halliburton. I think he's definitely going to be there to stay. He's going to be definitely a pivotal piece. And what my little nephew, Lil Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
What they gonna do with my little nephew? I'm a little worried about my nephew. I wanted to go somewhere, I want him to be loved. I want him to be I want him to be celebrated, not tolerated.
He'll be in Charlotte.
After what happened, and I will go. Look, I've been saying this for the longest. Harrison Barnes is the main reason why Golden State did not win in 2016.
Of course.
Okay. We know.
I think people around the league know that too, which is why you allow someone like Harrison Barnes to get traded in the middle of the game. So, and I'm not saying he's bad, but he's going to end up on like New Orleans, and then we're just gonna forget that he exists. Unfortunately, I'm a Tar Heel fan. But.
I mean, who doesn't love that precocious 5-star athlete out of Ames, Iowa? I mean,
oh my God, this guy. I got a question.
That's my guy.
Oh my God,
I got to ride for Harrison Barnes.
Hey, I got a question. What do y'all think? What place will you think Karl Anthony Towns will go? I actually think that he should go. He should go and start somewhere new. Where would y'all like to see him go?
I wouldn't mind seeing him in Phoenix.
That's good. I wasn't thinking that.
I wouldn't mind seeing him Golden State.
Go where?
I mean,
Golden State.
Golden State. I wouldn't mind that either.
I don't think he should go to a place where he has to be the man. I think that he wants to. I think he needs to play with along. Well, that's tough, man, because he's played alongside someone with a fiery temperament and Jimmy Butler, and we see how that went down. So I don't know how he'll be with Draymond Green, but I do think the calming water to that team and that would help him is Steph. And then of course, if he goes to Golden State, you also have Clay coming, but then you got James Wiseman. That's tough, man. Yeah. That's tough because I think I also like to see him maybe in Washington, alongside Brad and Westbrook.
Yeah, I like that too. I was even thinking Boston, but I like that. I like that.
So I don't know. He's a tough player too.
I really like that Washington, especially when you got Beal and Westbrook. I like that. And
you have Bertans, so
right.
Mans don't have to really occupy the hey, what's this in for?
Okay.
I'm saying this is in for.
Oh boy.
We doing bets or what? I mean,
well, here you go. Hey, he don't pay. He read the contract. You know.
All right now. I pay y'all. But yeah, I can definitely see him. Maybe I think the biggest one, like you said, because you don't want him to be your number one. So yeah, it would have to be that. I look at Phoenix, especially if he can get them next year or the next couple of years while Chris Paul is still there. Which, and like you said, I don't know if that's going to work out to him as either. Where
with DeAndre, so
yeah, with DeAndre, yeah, that's true too. Well, they can move on with him as well. Though I mean, I don't know. But the thing is, you could probably put him at the 4.
You could.
I mean, that's the thing with him. I mean, he's that versatile. You could probably put him at the 4. Mm-hmm. And do what you gotta do there. I think he would be a nice piece in Phoenix. But I like the whole Chris Paul thing. I don't know because Chris Paul can rub people a little bit the wrong way.
Yeah.
Some people are not too fond of him, especially the guys like. I hope you don't have a big baby type of response, right? All Chris do is dribble. Glenn!
Stupid, right?
Yeah. So, first round playoff matchup that will live up to the hype. I'm gonna go with you first, Jalen.
I am going to say, I'm gonna say Clippers and Dallas. I think it's going to be a quick series. I do, but we know how exciting it was last year with Luka going against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and of course, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have a lot to prove. So either they're going to be going crazy or they're going to wilter like they did against the Nuggets. So, and of course, we know, and that's all they've been talking about today is how they ducked the Lakers in round 2. So, I don't know how that is. I don't know. But I do think that I'm excited to see how they bounce back. From last year. So, I would say Clippers and Dallas.
All right, before we proceed, and that's the talk that's been pissing me off the whole time. I'm a Bulls fan, but professionally I do cover the Clippers for shout out to the NBA carousel. But no, because how people saying that we're avoiding the Lakers, like that's impossible. What if they lose tomorrow and then they the AC? Ain't nobody avoiding nothing. Like that literally pisses me off. It's like, why are people painting that picture? Is that we're chilling, we're resting.
We're chilling. Yeah.
And then it's just like, what if the Lakers lose tomorrow? Then they potentially will be the AFC. Then we may potentially play them in the second round. Nobody ducking nobody. So it's like that whole day I just been pissed off about that. I almost went on a Kwame Brown rant. Seriously, because
hey man,
to me,
that's disrespecting my boy.
To me, that's just dumb. Like to me, it's just like how can a team that's already done did their thing? Ducking. You saying they ducking? How we ducking? No, the Lakers are ducking. If you want to put on two sides, ain't nobody ducking nothing. Like because if the Lakers lose. If the Lakers lose Wednesday and then if they win Friday, we don't have to play them. It don't even matter. Like ain't nobody ducking nobody.
Hey, you talk to the narrative makers and your team. Don't be throwing nobody else into the mix. What you mean the Lakers ducking? What you talking about? Hey, you know what I'm saying? Just gonna throw other people in. We ain't even got nothing to do.
Right. I'm just like I'm telling you.
I will say this.
Right.
They better focus because I remember last season. I think if they could have easily lost against the Mavs last playoff. Seriously,
yeah. I mean, but it's a different team. It's a new day. We're gonna find out about this team. But ain't nobody ducking nobody. Like, how,
oh my God, are you getting a bonus from them? What is going on? Are you getting a bonus from them? You getting a bonus? You getting free wings?
No, not at all. Not at all. They just I didn't,
free wings every time Paul George hit a three.
I should.
On the
that's the narrative. Like you said, that's been pissing me off the whole day. I'm just like, it just makes you just don't even want to watch daytime sports debates because it's pointless.
Yeah. I mean, it's corny. You know what I mean? Like they do what they supposed to do, man. Like everybody keeps forgetting, man. Like these dudes been playing for a while. Oh my God,
right?
You know what I mean? Lord have mercy. But anyway, let me pick mine. I was gonna pick the Clippers and Mavs, but I'm gonna say the Heat versus the Bucks. And like I said, it's so many, man. Like it's a lot, but I'm gonna put the Heat versus the Bucks to see if the Bucks gonna be able to and do what they supposed to did last year.
Yeah. Matt's gotta go. I think it's gonna be Knicks Hawks. I think that's gonna be a 7-game series. We might have a 7-game in the Garden. I think these are the two underachieving teams in the Eastern Conference, and they're playing in. I think it's going, and they're a contrast of styles, and I think that's what's going to make these type of styles make for fights, not in the that way, but more so X's and O's. I'm just really curious as far as, and it's going to be. I think this is definitely going to be the ultimate seesaw matchup where you can see the Knicks win one, the Hawks win one, back and forth. Because as far as then you're looking at just what the Knicks harness, their defense, Julius Randle, Alex Burks, those guys, Derrick Rose, RJ Barrett's coming on along. He's doing his thing. He's definitely having a coming out party this year. And then this is what the Hawks, you look at Bogdanovich, also Trae Young. Like, is Trae Young, like you said, is he ready for the bright lights? Do his thing, and then you just look at just their team as well. I definitely think this matchup is going to live up to the hype. This is probably going to be maybe the only 7-game series because, like as Jalen alluded to earlier in his unpopular opinion of the night, Wizards in 4.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be good too. I'm hoping Trae Young show up, man. I hope I want him to explode and be like, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. That's what I'm looking forward to. You know what I mean?
I think that's what I think Giannis heard a lot of what they talked about last year and the year before against the 76ers. I think he's about to have a series against Bam and all them. So I can see. I think that's going to be a good series too. But I can see Giannis crazy. Honestly.
He has to. I think he got to. I think because he been. They're not really talking much about him too. You know what I mean?
I would say I'm not finding me to cut you off. I would say I would say he doesn't have to because of Drew Holiday. I think Drew Holiday claims that he is the ultimate Band-Aid for any team. And I think there could be games where Giannis struggles or they do the wall thing like they always do, put Bam on him and the big guys. But then you look up like, oh, shoot, Drew has 28.
Right.
So I think Drew Holiday definitely, if they had Drew Holiday last year, I think that series would have gone a whole lot differently because you could have put, of course, we know about the injury to Giannis, but you could have put someone on Jimmy Butler. And of course, if you ask anybody in the league, Drew Holiday more than likely will make the All NBA defensive team. So I think that's going to be a good series as well. So I agree with that one.
Yeah. All right. Lower seed likely to make the conference finals. Who you got, Jalen?
I got Golden State. I got Golden State because of Steph. Of course, I don't want to be the one. I know I said Wizards and 4s, so you know how I feel about that one. But realistically, I would say Golden State because if you look at, I think that they probably won't have to see Lakers or Clippers maybe until the conference finals. So they would have to go up. Maybe if they get the AC, they'll have to go up against a Utah. But they're going up against a Utah that their best player will be coming off an injury that he's been out for like a month or two. Then they'll have to go against a younger team in Phoenix. And of course, Phoenix has been great all year, but we do want to see what they look like in the playoffs. And while Golden State is a young team outside of Draymond Green and Curry, you have Draymond Green and Curry. So I would say I'll say Golden State. I don't think they win it all, of course, but I do think that they have. I mean, they're number one in offensive efficiency in the league. So I'll say Steph just goes crazy like he did at Davidson and gets them to the conference finals.
Yeah. What you got, Maui?
Lakers. Come on now. You know it.
They are.
What are you even talking about? No, well, they really probably should be a top seed. It's kind of not fair. You know what I mean? But but I know that AD and I think the best thing that helped them was the last 5 games. And I saw some different things. I always looked at Caruso to step up. I always looked at KCP to step up. But I think a lot of players like Matthews, his defense, I think he's getting his confidence up. Definitely THT. You know what I mean? And then I think Drummond is starting to figure out his role a little bit more. And then I like how they're figuring out how to use Marc Gasol a little bit more also, because it was hard. It's horrible at the beginning of the season. You know what I mean? But I think they're gonna get it together. I think the main thing, my whole thing with the Lakers is, my mentality is we need to stop focusing if LeBron or AD is gonna be healthy. Play like they're not going to be there, because you've been doing that and you've been winning. You know what I mean? You're relying on your defense. The Lakers' biggest issue is late in the third quarter, early in the fourth, almost in the mid-fourth. They just stop scoring. It would be horrible. Like, okay, somebody score, B. Because really, if they did consistently score, they would probably blow people out by 20 and 25. Because they defense be on point.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Even with Bron, even with AD, that's the only fear I have with the Lakers, because they can go in scoring droughts, and they don't have like 1 minute scoring droughts. They have 5 minute scoring droughts.
5 minute scoring droughts. Yeah,
they've been at 28 for like 5 minutes, and it's like you don't want that to happen against a Portland. You don't want that to happen against a Golden State. You don't want that to happen against a Phoenix. So that's the only thing I fear. Not to mention, you say THT, look good, and of course Dennis Schroeder. But when you look at the playoffs in those positions, you're gonna one series you might have to go against Donovan Mitchell. The next series you have to go against Dame. The next, or you're gonna have to go against Steph. And it's like, can those play? Of course you have Bron. Of course you have AD. They're going to be top 2 of the 3 players on the floor, but. Once you take LeBron, okay, so say you put LeBron on the point guard, then who is, you still got Rudy Gobert stopping stuff at the rim. You still have CJ McCollum may go crazy. So it's just, will those scoring droughts really affect them? Like,
that's stable. So. I lie to you not, and that's the worst thing, because obviously they up by 15 or 20. It's like they get up by 10 or 15, and then they just be like, okay, let's just let it be for what it is. And then it'd be like 5 minutes left or in the game, and you like, the hell, you know what I mean?
How are they just up 15? How are they down 3? And then it's like LeBron starts wiping. It's like, oh, here we go. But it's just like it should never get to that point, because you're going to play a team where they come all the way back and you get down 3, and their best player, Damian Lillard, is over here going crazy in the fourth. Or you look and Steph Curry has 28 in the fourth. I'm like, oh shoot! Like,
but you know what's weird? It's never the star player. It's always somebody. Yeah. It's always the person that's going crazy on the team. Is like, man, who the hell is this?
Exactly. Sadiq Bey. Who is this?
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, man. It's gonna be a cross between LA, the Lakers, and Portland. I think that lower seed is really, really intriguing. Right. That lower bracket, if everything plays into fruition, Lakers get that 7 seed. They play Phoenix. I can definitely see them advancing past Phoenix, and then playing. I probably go on assumption Denver. Well, not assumption, but they'll either play the Denver Portland winner, which you look at it, we could have a 6-7 matchup. In the semifinals, and one of these teams could advance. Those are two teams that I'm looking as far as the lower seeds. The East, I think maybe Miami potentially, but then they got to play Brooklyn in the second round. So I'm like, that would definitely not. So that would be the only one who I could see have a legitimate shot, because the East is just so like top heavy. So it's like to a point where I don't even think a lower seed could even do that. Like,
I would say if there is a lower seed that could do it, and of course we'll have to see if they get outside the Wizards. Of course, they have to see if they get out of the play-in tournament. But I will look at Boston as far as, say Kemba gets back to the Kemba that they thought they were getting, and of course we know Jason Tatum can go crazy. As we've seen, he had a couple 50. He had a 60-point game this year. They can match now. I know their center position is god awful if you're trusting Tristan Thompson, but you have Marcus Smart, you have those players. I don't think it can happen, but they can definitely, if they match, like they can match up with a couple people. It's just it really depends on the Kemba that you're getting. Not saying he's their best player, but with Jaylen Brown being out, you need Kemba to step up and at least look like the Kemba that the Charlotte Bobcats had. So, that's
Bob Johnson.
Nelly.
That's right, Nelly. Sean May.
Man.
Lil Ray.
Man, wouldn't that be crazy though if the Wizards get past the play-in game and then beat the Nets?
Hey, we beat them 3 times this year. That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you, when I saw it, I said, what I always say, Chris, I'm always thinking marketing, right? And I'm like, yo, that would be crazy, because everybody looking at the Nets a certain way, I still think it's a collision course to fail. From every part about it, even hiring the coach. It's just something. You know what I mean? It's almost like a bowl. Like, when you go buy a bowl from Kentucky Fried Chicken or something like that, you got all that different stuff in there, and they like, just put gravy on it. It's good. You know what I'm saying? It's just something ain't right.
I just think their problem, and that kind of goes into the next question a little bit. I just think their problem is they lean too heavy on one side of the ball.
That's right.
Of course, you get 3 of the top scorers in the league, but they really put their hat on, all right, we're going to do one thing, then one thing great. Like, this is Mike D'Antoni's system on steroids, because like you look at all the champions that's won, and not one since I think Dallas was top 10 in defense and offense, and they're I think number 1 or number 2 in offense, and like the one of the worst defensive teams in league history. So if they do lose, it's because they leaned way too heavy on one side of the ball.
Yes, sorry to burst your bubble, Jalen, but if the Nets lose to the Wizards, the devil will be wearing a North Face because it'll be a cold day in hell if that happens.
Hey man, nobody thought UMBC was gonna be Virginia. That's all I'm saying.
Shout UMBC. I've been to UMBC before. That's a nice little quaint campus on the outskirts of town.
Nobody thought the Joggers gonna lose. That's all.
Nice selection of underclass young ladies. I might add. I digress. That's the old me. But yeah, that's a nice little university. I'll put it that way.
Stupid.
So, highest seed likely not to make the conference finals. I'm gonna go with you first, Jalen.
I'm gonna go with Denver. I think that while you have Nikola Jokic, they rely, and because and this mainly because Jamal Murray, I think you're going to start to see the effects of Jamal Murray not being there in the playoffs. Because of course you have Nikola Jokic, but they lean heavily on Michael Porter Jr.'s offense with homie being out, and we've seen Michael Porter Jr. go crazy, but we've also seen him be god awful, and when they're god awful, they lose those games. And that's no offense to Nikola Jokic, but Nikola Jokic isn't the type of player that can go give you 35 while putting the ball in and breaking the defender off. So I'm gonna say you're really gonna start to see Jamal Murray not be there in the playoffs. So I'll say Denver.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You got Denver? Okay. Who you got?
I said Knicks, but I'm gonna say Utah. You know what I mean? Probably for the same thing that you even saying about Denver. It's just, regular season is the regular season. I'm not saying they didn't ball last year and they was real close. You know what I mean? To moving on, but it's just gonna be different in the playoffs. You got to prove it to me first. That's just for me. And then Donovan Mitchell coming off. I just feel like it's going to be a little different in the playoffs.
I kind of feel the same way about Phoenix. I think while they've been incredible all regular season, this is a team outside of Chris Paul that has no playoff experience. Yep. So this is, as we all seen, this is a new animal at the playoffs. So I agree with Utah. I agree with Phoenix, and of course, like I said,
Phoenix. Yeah, I was gonna say Phoenix because I think they're gonna draw the Lakers, and I think even if Golden State, it could be kind of tricky. I just don't see. Out of all the the higher seeds, it's probably gonna be Phoenix. I could definitely see Utah making it because you think about it. If I would assume that first round matchup. I know I hate that we keep on not mentioning San Antonio and Memphis, as if they don't have a shot in it. But they don't have a shot in hell. Let's just keep it a buck. If everybody listens to the podcast this weekend or whatever, they'll be out of it. So it all makes sense. Yeah. So let's kind of be a little futuristic with it. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think it'd be Phoenix more so than any team. Because even if they get past the Lakers, they still would have to play either the winner of Portland and in Denver. So, and like I said, and the playoff experience too is a little tricky because you just look at it. The playoffs is a different animal. And like you said, Chris Paul is the only one who has been in the playoffs essentially, because I think everybody else for the most part
has not.
Yeah, maybe like Jay Crowder, but still.
Yeah.
But
still.
But for the most part, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I think Utah remind me of a little bit of the Bucks. You know what I mean? Where they seem like a good regular season team, and then they get in the playoffs, and it's different.
And then they have something to prove as well, because remember they had Denver in 7-game series and they almost pulled it off.
That's what I said. They almost pulled it off.
Situation, right? So they're another team that we kind of wrote off in the beginning of the season.
Right.
We looked at them as kind of the middle of the pack, but they ended up being the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. So
almost all the season.
Right, they got a lot to prove, and I mean, who'd ever thunk that the road to the NBA Finals in the Western Conference gonna have to go through Utah? It's not 1998 anymore.
Yeah, for real.
Wow.
You know, and LeGoat is not listening to Kenny Lattimore on the bus. The GOAT, the real GOAT, the real GOAT. I mean, let's keep it a buck. But anyway, let's go to our final topic of the night. Player likely to have a head-turning playoff run. I'm gonna say more so like a Jamal Murray kind of situation where I won't say out of nowhere, but just a guy that you see that can get hot and somebody that we'll probably remember as far as the playoffs. Oh, Jelly,
you want me? I'm gonna say I'm gonna go left field a little bit. Not really left field. I'm gonna say Jason Tatum. I'm gonna say Jason Tatum because they need him to be that. Right. If they make it out the play-in, which I wholeheartedly believe they will, I think it's going to be Boston and Washington. I think that they need Jason Tatum to go crazy, and don't be surprised if we look up and Jason Tatum has a couple 30s, maybe a 40, maybe a 50. How the offense is going this year, I'm gonna say Jason Tatum.
Okay, we got Maui.
I said Bradley Beal. The last few seasons, he's in the playing game. They win, is he in the playoffs? And I know the last few seasons there's always been talks about him being in the All-Star game, or it's just always something. You know what I mean? I just feel like, Bradley Beal, he got a chance. He's there. You know what I'm saying? He got a chance for people to see who he really is. We all know who he is, but I picked him, and I'm hoping AD. I'm hoping AD or Trae Young, but I said Bradley Beal. You know what I mean? He was just always a name. They talking about trading him. They was talking about this. He resigned, right?
Yeah, but of course they're still talking about they want to do like force his way out and stuff, like some players.
Yeah, but I feel like the last month and a half, the energy done changed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they starting to believe in themselves. They, you know what I'm saying? Something's going on. They look happy also. Yeah. And sometimes it just takes for, the players to trust one another. And, he a beast. I mean, when they was really, really sorry, there's some games he a beast. And I think it's a lot of players that's actually got a chance to really show like, hey, it's time to move on from the old players. And it's some new players in this league. You know what I mean? So I'm saying Bradley Beal.
He was my second pick, but I didn't pick him because I thought he was already a star. So.
Yeah. It don't matter because Miles is a star as well. Miles is a star of all stars.
Oh, I know you about to say
Devin Booker.
Yeah.
I think Devin Booker, I think he's going to be a guy, I think, regardless of whoever he plays, Golden State or the Los Angeles Lakers, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to – there's really nobody on either one of those teams that could stop him defensively. I think he's going to go off. I think he's going to go off in that series, and he's going to have to if this team wants to advance in the second round. So I definitely look at Devin Booker, and this is like his coming out party. This will be his his first playoff run, and a lot of people don't really pay attention to the Phoenix Suns. Almost as similar as Jamal Murray. Like when we look at Jamal Murray, no one really pays attention to the Denver Nuggets per se. As far as most East Coast NBA guys don't really stay up to watch Denver, but
I'll also say watch out for Devin Booker. Devin Booker, as we know, he can ignite and go crazy. So even though they lost when he dropped 70, which nobody talks about,
right?
Devin Booker can definitely go crazy. So watch out for Devin Booker.
Yeah, that's
playoffs. So he has a point to prove. So I say watch out for Devin too.
Devin Booker was my first choice as well. Yeah, and he did that at what, 20 years old?
Exactly.
which is, and that's another thing. What you think all these dudes, like it's funny they young OGs, and it's the most weirdest thing, like in the NBA,
I just realized Zion just turned 20.
Right, he'll be 21 in July.
Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
Back to that Devin Booker thing. When he got 70, Chris Paul wasn't there.
Exactly.
And a few times I've seen them, he looked like you could tell. I think Chris Paul learned something when he played with Harden, and he was like, any team I play for, I've got to be able to have that whip to say, hey, we got to play like this if we're gonna move forward. Because even when he played for the Thunder, they was all right. You know what I mean? I ain't even gonna lie, they was all right. You know what I mean? But I was sitting here and I was watching stuff, and I was just like, yo, Devin don't look like he's as fiery and his swag ain't there like it was before. You know what I'm saying? Like last year, like I don't see that. It looks like.
I think it's because when you're so used to, it's kind of like the Westbrook syndrome. It's like when you're so used to, outside of course Kevin Durant days, but you're so used to being the man and playing alongside somebody that while you might be skillfully better, you're not the man. That's tough, man. It's like I said, I saw the same thing I saw what you're talking about the first few games when we saw James Harden play with Chris Paul. I saw this. You're seeing the same thing. Blake Griffin. You're seeing the same thing with Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum. It's like, oh shit, I'm so used to taking 30, 40 shots a game. Now I'm not even the best player on the team, and it's like I don't know if he's done a good job, or I don't know if I'm not gonna say doing a good job, but I don't know if he's been able to, not saying he's been bad. I don't know if he's been able to adjust to the fact that while I'm the best player still, I may not be the most important, and the ball does not run through me like it's done my entire career. Hell, even at Kentucky, he wasn't the main at Kentucky, but they still ran the offense through him. So this is definitely a shell shock in my opinion.
Yeah, and he's not the only alpha dog
exactly
in the kennel. On the court. No, I'm just saying this is in general.
But I think that that's going to be. I think that's if they don't win, if they don't go far this year, I think that's something that conversation need to happen to let loose just a little bit because they would be so much. I think they'd be dangerous if because you just get sense that he's a lot more disciplined this year. But they're a success. So what can you say?
Yeah.
And our boy Cam, I'm happy for him. Our little nephew, little Cam Johnson.
Man, oh man.
So, fellas, let's put a bow on this week's Couch Coach Live, man. Any final thoughts before we dip out, guys? I'm gonna go with you first, Maui. Any final thoughts?
Thank you, Kwame Brown.
yeah. Shout out to Kwame Brown.
Hey, no, I'm being honest with you. Not be negative, but man, I've been working like crazy. I was so tired, and I just ran across that story, and I thought it was gonna be like 5 minutes, and
in 2 days.
Kwame Brown, right? And it was like, and it's more and more coming, and I needed something like that in my life because if I seen one more thing about damn Joe Budden, I was gonna lose my mind. Anyway.
Rory and Mal, you're fired.
Fired.
Jalen, what you got?
I want to first shout out and send prayers to Asia Durr. For people that know her, don't know her, she's supposed to be a star in the WNBA. However, due to COVID symptoms, she hasn't been able to play the last 2 years. And as she's a prime example of COVID hits everyone differently. I think she says she gets COVID symptoms as far as like asthma-like symptoms, which she's never had in her life. 5 minutes on the court, which is not allowing her to play. And this is also jeopardizing her career in the WNBA because, like I said, this will be the second consecutive year. So I definitely want to shine light on Asia Durr, who supposed to be playing for the New York Liberty, and definitely send out prayers and condolences to her. Not saying she's dead or anything, but I hope that her body is able to get back to doing what she loves to do. And she's incredibly talented in doing, and that is playing basketball at the highest level. So shouts out, and I hope that her body is able to, turn around, and that's Asia Durr, the I think she was the second overall pick about 2 or 3 years ago. So,
yeah. Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, man. Mine's more so Washington football related. Definitely huge shout out to Ryan Kerrigan, man. He's another. Hey, I mean, he had to go where he had to go. I mean, I know the whole Philly situation, but still, it sucks that he gone. But what he did for us, and I always look at him, and that's one thing too. When you look at these situations, like he was a consummate pro, even in that tough year. It's funny when you know the makeup of a team when you're bad. When that 3-30. I applauded him, Adrian Peterson, all these guys who were able to were the leaders of that team and still had a brave face after we lost. I mean, we got our teeth kicked in 13 out of 16 times we played in 2019. He was one of the ones that kept on, just keeping the morale up and what have you. Definitely wish him luck on this venture, except for December the 19th and January the 2nd when we play them. So the other 15 games he played, good luck. But them two matchups in December and January is on. But that's a huge shout out to Ryan Kerrigan, man. So we'll go around the horn. Social medias, where can they find you? I'm gonna go with you first, Malway. Social media.
Oh man, Deshaun Morgan Facebook and DT Morgan 78 Instagram.
Yeah, Jalen.
Hey man, I don't care if you follow me on social media. Please subscribe to the Unpopular Podcast YouTube channel. It is, I think, the Unpopular Podcast. It's the logo right there. It has the headphones. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, which is in July. So again, you don't have to follow my Facebook. You don't have to follow the Instagram. You don't have to follow none of that. Go to the Unpopular Podcast YouTube channel and subscribe. I don't even care if you watch or not. Just subscribe. It would definitely mean a lot, and it'd definitely be an honor. So that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, man, get that brother some watch time minutes so he can get that.
I want the world. I want as much people as God allows to see my vision. And the people that have been rocking with me and rock with me every week, all week, is definitely a blessing. It's definitely an honor. And I'm just trying to get as many people to see the vision that God's giving me, man. So, I'm trying to get as much as God allows. So that's all I'm really trying to do, man.
Yep. Yeah, man. Definitely follow the podcast on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, Couch Coach Live. Also, subscribe to our YouTube. I got to definitely get on my YouTube game because it's been slacking as of late. Definitely get on the YouTube. Check us out. Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. Then also follow us on TikTok. We're getting a little traction on TikTok. Kind of trying to find different kind of funnels to bring them into this live space that we have every Tuesday night. So, yeah, man, definitely huge shout out to my guys Jeff, the Pod Father, then my guy Mo and Mo Gotti. My guys, they chimed in tonight. Definitely appreciate them for tuning in and interacting with us tonight. Definitely appreciate everybody. It's been following the podcast, following the movement. No shows this week. I don't have anything planned until next week, so this is probably gonna be it for me for the rest of the week, which is a weird thing. But we'll see. Right. I might hop in them. I don't know if you're familiar, Jalen. Those was it Twitter Spaces?
Twitter Spaces.
It's I think it's like Clubhouse for Twitter.
I have no idea, man.
I think I might be hopping on one of them this weekend. I'm not sure. It's tentative. It's a TBA situation for me.
I'm not sure. All I know is the Unpopular Podcast drops every Wednesday, so be on the lookout. Tomorrow's episode, I'm going to give my all NBA, all three teams. I'm going to give my rookie team, my defensive team. I'm going to talk about Kyrie, and I'm talking about where I was wrong for my preseason predictions and where I was right. And then, of course, look out on Saturday. I'm going to give the Unpopular Podcast, superlatives. So definitely be on the lookout for that, man. So I don't know about no Twitter Spaces. I'm not a tech savvy dude. So,
bro, at this point, it's another thing. Got to be innovative.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, Jalen. I'm an old man now. I got a little gray in my beard. adjusting all these little technology things is somewhat of a challenge, but it brings more ears to the pod. It brings more eyes to the YouTube. Just doing what you can to kind of get this stuff out there. So I'm gonna just dibble and dabble with the spaces, and we'll do that this weekend, and just trying to find innovative ways to funnel the podcast into the live where they can check us out in complete live form. So yeah, man, life is about, Hey, I'm gonna see how it work out. Shoot,
hey, I respect.
I'll put you in one of those spaces. Let's see how everything goes. I think it's like a clubhouse. My memory serves correct. It's almost kind of like that kind of thing where you're just gonna be in a group of like almost like kind of like a meetup, like a huddle type of situation. I'm not really sure about, but I think it's like almost like a clubhouse. Well, maybe minus the capping and what those kids say caps. Minus the cap and the egos, but other than that, I think it's a similar situation. You might do have a little cap and a little,
Damn, so he really ain't hurting.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man. What a night! I mean, who'd have thought we had a great night? Definitely huge shout out to our guy Jalen for coming on the podcast. And the Indiana Pacers scored 144 points.
Well, they beat that. If anybody was they got hold on. Bradley Beal limping. Oh, hold on.
Oh yeah, that's what I said.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
Hey, man. If you need a hamstring, I ain't doing nothing for the next few hours.
Oh,
Come on.
Yeah, man. So for Maui and Jalen of the Unpopular Podcast, this has been this week's Couch Coach Live, man. We'll catch you next week.
Much love, man.
Welcome.
Yes, sir.